ever seen someone speedrun their own Hollywood downfall? Because Rachel Zegler just went from the next big thing to the next big problem in record time. And she did it with the enthusiasm of someone who thought the internet would give her a standing ovation. Disney's live-action Snow White was and is already a disaster, but Rachel somehow made it worse. Because feuding with fans, dragging the original movie, throwing political jabs online, and allegedly getting herself booted from multiple projects isn't just a PR meltdown, it's a full-on career implosion. So this is how she took one iconic princess role and turned it into a career nosedive. But let's be real, this remake was doomed from the start. Fans were already side-eyeing it when Disney announced they were reimagining Snow White for a modern audience, which in studio terms usually means we're about to ruin everything you love. Sure enough, Snow White landed with the grace of a drunk prince falling off his horse. The plot was a mess, the lead was, well, Rachel Zegler, and the box office numbers were an embarrassment. Just a mere $86 million on opening weekend. Analysts say it won't even get close to breaking even. We're talking hundreds of millions in losses. That's not just a flop, that's Disney's accountant screaming into a pillow. But while the film had issues, Rachel Zegler became the face of it all. Now, it is harsh to pin the entire downfall on one actress, but the reality is that her controversies overshadowed the film's content. Instead of, is the story any good, it became, did you see Rachel's latest tweet? Not exactly a recipe for box office glory. Now, Zegler made headlines early by trashing the original 1937 Snow White. She called it outdated, mocked the prince for being a stalker. Weird. Basically telling Disney fans their childhoods were dumb. Now, sure, you can modernize a classic, but don't do it by mocking the thing that got you the role in the first place. That's like getting cast as Aladdin and then saying, the genie, nah, we don't need him. So, Disney fans weren't having it. But things escalated when she started calling out perceived Hollywood sexism, urging watchers who disagreed with her worldview not to buy tickets.
Just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
That's a bold move, telling a giant chunk of potential audience members to stay away. And I guess, well, they listened. Bet she's regretting that one now, or actually, probably not.
I'm a narcissist.
The backlash was instant, and instead of clarifying or retracting, Rachel doubled down. Over and over.
And everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
So, as you can imagine, Disney was not thrilled. They had already poured insane marketing dollars into promoting a progressive new Snow White, only to see their star practically wave a do not watch this sign at half the country. But here's where things get even worse. Just days after stepping on stage at D23 to promote the movie, Rachel hopped on social media to celebrate raking up 120 million trailer views, then also added her Free Palestine comment, which caused a bit of tension to say the least, as the co-star Gal Gadot is an Israeli actress. Disney's higher up even reached out suggesting she remove the post, but she refused. A chunk of the internet praised her for her bold stance, but this also resulted in thousands of fans flipping out and Disney having to beef up Gadot's security after receiving hate and death threats. Imagine that, Wonder Woman needing extra bodyguards, all thanks to Rachel Zegler. Now, obviously, everyone has the right to express their own political views. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But she could have kept it separate from promoting a family-friendly movie, which doesn't exactly pair well with political opinions. But it didn't stop there. Rachel went on to target a huge chunk of potential viewers by blasting Trump supporters. Zegler told Trump supporters to stay away from the movie, which is basically half the country. Now, normally studios try to get everyone to buy a ticket, not actively tell people to stay home. So Disney literally sent in a social media guru to babysit her account, but the damage was already done. So after all this chaos, controversy, and Rachel Zegler's Snow White failing at box office, studios started quietly distancing themselves from Zegler. Projects she was attached to, like a Toy Story 5 character, a potential Pirates of the Caribbean role, even a horror trilogy with Blumhouse, just vanished. No official statements, just creative differences and schedule conflicts. Translation, you're radioactive now. She went from rising star to unwanted faster than a poisoned apple taking effect. But instead of going silent and letting things cool off as any decent PR advisor would recommend, Rachel did the opposite. She started ranting on live streams, in interviews and on social media, complaining about long filming hours, dragging her critics, saying she deserved to get paid every time someone streamed the movie on Disney+.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
She basically wanted a Spotify-style royalty check every time someone pressed play. And while the streaming pay conversation is legit, her approach felt tone deaf. Like, your movie just tanked and you're out here asking for bonus checks? That's like crashing a car and sending the dealership a bill for emotional distress. She even claimed this version of Snow White was the most perfected iteration ever, as if Walt Disney himself would see it and say, yep, this slaps harder than the 1937. Yeah, no, I don't think so. There's definitely a reason as to why the original made Disney and hers may have just destroyed it. Because behind the scenes, Disney was in full panic mode. Execs were holding emergency meetings, PR teams were putting out fires, producers were reportedly flying out just to personally tell Zegler, please stop talking. They even ghost wrote an apology for her, which you could just tell it wasn't her because it didn't sound like someone tweeting while annoyed in traffic. But by then the internet had already made up its mind to cast Rachel Zegler as the evil queen instead, and no amount of corporate smoothing could fix that. But let's be fair, it isn't all on Rachel. Disney's obsession with modernizing every classic into a CGI loaded political statement is definitely part of the problem. The writing was shaky, the production was chaotic, and Bob Iger's attempt to inject agenda-driven storytelling hasn't exactly been winning people over lately. But Rachel was the face, the voice, the one giving interviews, stirring up controversy, and arguing with fans online. She made herself the main character in a narrative that wasn't supposed to be about her, and then turned it into a headline machine. So, after all of this, did Rachel Zegler just destroy her career? Well, with multiple projects dropped, a reputation for being difficult, a fan base that now sees her as the person who insulted their childhood, and a box office flop so bad it gave Disney whiplash. It's not looking too good to say the least. If she does make a comeback, it will take a full rebrand. Less ego, more humility, and maybe just 1 year where she doesn't fight the entire internet. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So, until next time, remember that being the face of a fairy tale remake doesn't mean you get a happy ending. Peace.